Well, guys, we did it. We made it. We're here. It's the end of the Power and Revolution 2020 Israel series. We've come a long way. I mean, look at this. This is Israel. The word's down here in Egypt at this point. We started out with just this little blue area right here. Let's see if we can zoom out. No, Jerusalem just covers all of it. Just this blue area here we started out with. We took over Palestine and the West Bank and the Gaza Strip after that and made a more complete looking picture of Israel. We then took over Lebanon, we took over Syria, and we took over Egypt. Not to mention, there's more over here because we took over Monaco, all the way in Europe. We took over Liechtenstein. I still don't know how to pronounce it. We're ending with our economic stats actually looking pretty healthy, a very good growth rate, good unemployment, and a very under control inflation rate. And then if everything's looking so well, maybe you don't remember from the last episode, maybe you haven't watched any part of the series and you just want to see why it ended. The reason is, in the last episode, a problem developed after we annexed Egypt. The problem is in our budget. As you can see, we have a pretty high public debt. The thing is, just last episode, it was much lower than this. We have a budget excess of 22.69 billion. Recently, it showed actually more like 50 billion. If we look at our actual budget, we will see that our revenues are way higher than our expenditures. We actually avoided spending anything for about half a year, about a quarter at least anyway. We spent some, but not much. In that one quarter, we spent nothing just to test to see what was going on with the budget. And this excess started lowering and lowering to the point where it pretty much halved itself. But one way or another, we found that whatever number was here, the most accurate and reliable way of knowing what your excess is going to be for the year, the number didn't matter. It just didn't add up to anything. It didn't correlate with anything. Every single quarter, we were taking about 20 billion, add some more, reduce some more, depends on the quarter, 20 billion worth of debt every single quarter. Now that doesn't make any sense considering we have an excess. So I tried some things to fix it, and nothing really worked while I was recording. So I spent a few hours after the recording trying to figure out why this is the case. No, this is not the only bug we've been experiencing. Episode by episode over the last few episodes, the game has just been getting worse. Buggier and buggier. Entire systems are not working anymore or shutting down. You have number bugs like with the education screen where I believe if we move, you see you click around and then suddenly the numbers inflate to numbers higher than the total amount of humans alive. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem to have a practical effect, at least I don't think it does. Either way, it's just a whole bunch of things breaking, which you can watch the last couple episodes if you want the full recap of everything that's gone wrong, and add it up to me needing to end the series now. Off camera, I tried a whole bunch of solutions. A lot of them, most of them, did not work, did not fix it, including just waiting it out, maybe trying to integrate other countries. I tried all sorts of things that had little to no effect on our budget at all. And every single thing that I tried that did not simply not improve it actually made it worse. In some cases, when I integrated a country, it got worse. The situation deteriorated. And typically, also, when I tried certain measures like raising the amount of income I earned or lowering expenses, even messing around with God and Spy, the same thing happened. Within the next year in-game, whenever I actually solved the problem, a new problem came up, and that was that everyone in my country started to hate me. My ministers kept resigning, my popularity kept dipping, and if popularity dips, I guess, that's not really an issue. It's annoying, and it would make it stressful even more so than it is to play, so I wouldn't really want to deal with it. But the ministers resigning was definitely a very weird one, and that's honestly more of a problem than getting kicked out of office when you have God and Spy, because once a minister resigns, you need to appoint a new one. When you don't have a minister, then you actually can't do anything in that department. And when your entire cabinet keeps resigning, you have to keep appointing new characters. Let me just clarify, by the way, while new characters do spawn, they don't always have good popularities, they're not always good ministers, they're not always even completely available because they don't spawn instantaneously. And with all the numbers of bugs we've experienced over the past few episodes, and everything that I've just told you up until this point is why, unfortunately, we are going to have to end this series here. It really is a shame because I was honestly having a lot of fun whenever it wasn't bugging out. I was having fun building up Israel, this tiny little country, when I thought at the beginning of the series that I would hate it. We even just got to a point where we are one of the, let's look through the stats, see what we've accomplished. We are the 9th most populated country in the entire world. Look at us right there. Number 9. We're more populated than Russia, one of the world's largest superpowers, than Japan. We're more populated than Mexico. We are about half the population of the United States, the world's largest superpower. That is a very good achievement. If we look at our military power by this point in the game, you'll see the index anyway is 6,888. That is doubled from the start. Our population's way more than doubled, by the way, which brings us up a lot closer to meeting other superpowers. I mean, we've passed North Korea, France, everyone in Europe. We have more power than any European country except for Russia, which according to this you'd think is the world's biggest superpower, but this is something I've ranted about. They give them a bunch of old Cold War tanks that aren't even serviceable today and add them to the level 1 or level 2 technology tanks that Russia has, and that's why they have so much military power in their index. China is also kind of inflated. They are actually way more powerful in this game than they are in real life. They have the most advanced military technology out of everyone in this entire game, which is really weird because even those that hate the US in real life know that the US has the most advanced military tech, except in cyber technology. But with buffs like that, we are still over half of what China has in this game, despite the developers wanting to make China more powerful than it is. Maybe they have some bribes from the Chinese government, I don't know. They can't even fix the bugs of their game, so anything's possible, I guess, right? We are close to surpassing India, who seems pretty damn powerful in this game, not gonna lie, at least according to the index. These two numbers are like unattainable, but really, look at it. Look how much power we have achieved. If we actually try looking through some of the other things here, tanks and armored cars, we're in number 2. We have the second most amount of tanks, just behind Russia, who again is given non-serviceable Cold War tanks that don't even work today. They just keep them in hopes of getting them running again should a war start. However, those vehicles would be unusable for months, if not years, all of them anyway, because the process of actually getting them working again would be pretty difficult, very time consuming, and very consuming of infrastructure. So the fact that we're up here without having that stupid bonus that they give Russia means, realistically, in real life anyway, this would equate to the most amount of tanks out of any and every country in the world. Look at soldiers, and our actual number of soldiers is still kind of low. It hasn't scaled with our population very well, but it is still number 14 out of everyone in the entire world. The rest of the military list tends to just go on like that. We're number 17 now by the end of the game in terms of the size of our economy. We have the 17th largest economy in the entire world. If we compare that to the start of the game, okay, are you gonna work? There we go. We were number 32 with $388 billion worth of GDP. Now we have 1,430. That is a huge increase, and to be fair, most of it probably came from annexing all these other countries. Especially Egypt gave us the single largest boost of like 500 and something billion. I don't even remember what our actual GDP was. Actually, no, it tells me 388 at the start of the game. That's bigger than us at the start of the game, and we annexed that, not to mention everything else, and our economy has been booming since the start of the game. It only had a little chug once we took over Syria. When I took over Egypt, it fixed itself the moment the new year came around in 2026. We've also done very minimal space research. We didn't get to really get very far due to a lack of technology, but we've had one successful mission, and that was medium to heavy rockets to unlock all the other missions. Our next one was actually going to be in a year here. I believe it was this one, Israel Peaks 2029, 2028. Yeah, we had another space program every single year after this year set to launch. It wasn't actually doing too much, in space because I was waiting for technologies to roll in though. Unfortunately, there's not really much else I can show you that's worth showing you because most of it is either number bugged or the current bugs in the game that have fucked with our stats have actually ruined it. As well as integrating countries makes it look like we've spent a lot less than we have. Our culture, everything has lost stars and dipped, whereas we did have this maxed out at one point. I guess I could show you just our general inflation rate. Our exchange rate actually has dipped back down to about where it was at the start of the game because I had my interest rate lowered for a little bit, but it's been about stable. Really, again, there's not too much else I can show you because, well, the game broke all the information I could show you to really highlight what we've accomplished. But the good news is, even though the game has bugged out, I have technically achieved the goal I set out with at the start of this game for this playthrough. That goal was to take a small country. This is something you guys wanted. You guys left in comments across all my playthroughs and suggested. You wanted to see me take a small country, a tiny country, and Israel was pretty fucking tiny with less than 9 million citizens, less than 8,000, I think, miles squared worth of land. I don't know, I don't remember how much, but it wasn't a lot. And we built it up. We expanded, took over several countries, not just here, but also little places in Europe. We made allies galore: Turkey, Russia, the US, France, the UK, Poland, and all the other ones you see here on this list that I didn't remember off the top of my head. One of our allies also died over here. Kuwait, yeah, Kuwait died. But our progress has been amazing. I've actually accomplished my goals that I set forward that I wanted to accomplish. That means I have accomplished the goals I set out for the playthrough before the game bugged out in 2 playthroughs now, the Chinese one and here. The Brazil playthrough, I didn't quite do it. In the China playthrough, I reunited China, which was taking over Taiwan. I did some other things. I accomplished the goals I set out to, but it did end a lot sooner than I intended it to, a lot sooner than I wanted it to, but then again, all of these do. The Brazil one, my goal was to unify all of South America. I did half of it, I think. I never took Argentina or Chile, but I did about half of it because I spent a lot of the game working on economics because Brazil's economy was trash. In our time playing this, we've become a dictatorship, an authoritarian regime, and then a monarchy. I am the king. This is the king, Alexander the First of Israel, this weird looking lad. And this is what we have. This is what we've done. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series as much as I have when the bugs weren't getting in the way. Unfortunately, with this game, that is a thing you are always going to have to deal with. These developers will probably never fix it. Does that mean we can't play it and enjoy a playthrough while it lasts? No. Does that mean we aren't going to get pissed off while playing it? Certainly not. I got pissed off many times while playing this game. In terms of strategy, the next thing I'm going to do on this channel is resume Ajod's Grand Strategy series, or game in this case, Rise of Prussia, where I already put out 2 small series about it, the first and second Silesian Wars. It's a historical game, and I'm going to resume it and make some more playthroughs on that before continuing this. I need a break from this game. I've uploaded this series more actively than any of the other 2 series, and I've binged it for months now, so I need a little break from myself. We're going to experiment with some other strategy games. I hope you guys join me in watching those strategy games. I love to read your comments. I love having you guys involved and letting me know what you think. If you want, you can join the community server in the description below. If you also just want to talk, hang out, or play some games with me, I stream on Twitch. That is also in the description below. A large variety of games, strategy games just like this one, or like all sorts of other things. I do shooters, RPGs, you name it. It's been fun having you guys along for the ride, but for now, it's time to end it. One final outro. Thank you guys very much for joining me through this series, and I'll see you guys in another video in another series.